Well, hello YouTube, Louie here, and I am pleased to report that Carl Yushenka has given me his second edition of Trade the Ratio. Okay, so Carl, as you may know, has been a long-standing author of silver investment advice, and in this case, he is giving investment advice regarding the gold to silver ratio. I covered this once before, a year or two ago, and recently he contacted me and said he was revising the book and updating his numbers, and he would have a second edition. And this is a pretty cool book. So for those of you that follow the gold to silver ratio and know that it is at somewhat of an all-time high recently, also recognize that there is an optimal point to switch out some or all of your gold for silver or your silver for gold, right? So what Carl does is he follows that ratio and he gives you some different methodologies for determining the exact optimal time to do so. And I think most of us kind of go seat of our pants and we know it's high right now, so we are buying more silver. And at some time in the future, we pick a rather random number, at which point we will convert some or all of that silver into gold, right? But what Carl does is he applies a scientific method and then back tests that method for at least 10 years, perhaps even longer. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, whether you are using the ratio to advise your physical gold and silver purchases, or you're someone that dabbles in ETFs and paper silver and gold, not that we really like to stack that way, but it is a really easy way to capitalize on the rather erratic moves of the gold to silver ratio that span from the 30s up into the 80s presently. And so he will show you how to create kind of bands that will advise you when you might want to consider a trade and when you may want to just consider holding pat. In addition, in this book, I'm pleased to say that I have a section. He asked me to give a few pages about collector coins. So I do that in one of the appendix. He has also reached out to the Stacking Nerd, who talks about how to get the best deals on bullion. He has a section on cryptocurrencies and nuclear war with Korea and trust and distrust in the government. A lot about what happened prior to the previous run up to $50, which coincided with a change in government, a more liberal shift in government. So there are some really interesting things that he points out there, which I think would really help you as we move towards the next election cycle and the possibility of a move back to the progressive or liberal side. The upshot of that is that that creates a great deal of fear. Not that there isn't sufficient fear right now. There's plenty of fear right now, but perhaps a different flavor of fear. But there could be some moves coming, and you may want to capitalize them. So rather than most of us, who just kind of talk into our hats and say, someday I'm going to trade my silver for gold or part of my silver for gold, you may want to know the exact statistically significant back-tested time that you should do that. And you might want to do that over and over again over a period of time because things don't typically happen in a binary fashion. They edge in, they edge out. And he has got that all covered in just a nice series of tests. One of the other upshots of the book is that when prices are plummeting, really hard to make money in either gold or silver, no matter how adept you are at trading. But in a somewhat normalized market, there definitely is opportunities for the ratio trader to get returns that exceed the pure stacker. And actually, if there are negative returns in the stack and hold methodology, the Trade the Ratio book proves that in some cases your losses will be less if you're trading the ratio. So if that isn't a good a good reason to spend a couple of dollars on this book, I don't know one. So please do get over to Amazon and take a look at it. It is definitely worth a read or a skim. It is not terribly complex. It's even if you're math phobic, I think there's some stuff in here that if you have a significant portion of your assets in precious metals, um, you know, it's worth taking some professional advice or paraprofessional advice to see how you might stack up on the next spike or the next reduction in the gold to silver ratio. And if silver hit 30 tomorrow and gold stayed at 1300, well, that ratio would be down around, that would be half of the 80s. It'd be in the 40s again. Is that when you're going to trade out? Do you know when you're going to trade out? And so forth. So that is what I'll say about this. I do hope you'll follow the link and give this great book a read. Carl is a stacker, and he knows a lot of us in the community, and I definitely support his work. He's a smart guy. Okay, that's all I have for now, and get over there and take a look at the Losing Louie section as well. Here, I'll give you a little preamble of my section. Appendix E, The Joys of Collecting, written by Losing Louie. My primary reason for collecting stems from my distrust of money supply, fear of inflation, and the expectation that U.S. money will either significantly inflated, leaving holders of dollars with less purchasing power, or completely revalued, similar to a stock undergoing something like a 10-to-1 reverse split. The former is well documented in U.S. history, and the latter something that might happen when the U.S. hits the wall in terms of borrowing, printing, and stealing its way to prosperity. All right, and I go on to talk about some of my favorite flip coins and collector coins. So that information is a few months old now, but you can replace many of the hot coins back then with strategies that I'm employing presently on current hot coins. But more importantly, get over there, take a look at the Trade the Ratio, read my part, read the Stacking Nerds part, and get the benefit of Carl's rich experience in this area. All right, guys, Louie signing out. You all take care. Links will be below.